to Ma'am Dean, to Ma'am Bautista, and my fellow classmates, good day. My topic is all about victimization of women. So let's start. Before we discuss about my topic, let's first define what is violence. Violence is defined by World Health Organization as the intentional use of physical force or power, threatened or actual, against oneself, another person, or against a group or community that either results in or has a likelihood of resulting in injury, death, psychological harm, maldevelopment, or deprivation. So, violence against women also known as gender-based violence and is collectively violent acts that are primarily committed against women. The United Nations defines violence against women as any act of gender-based violence that results in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, or mental harm or suffering to women, including threats of such acts, coercion, or arbitrary deprivation of liberty, whether occurring in public or in private life. So, why violence against women is so common? First, physically weak. Itong physically weak parang medyo may pagka-traditional ito. Pero siguro, physic in terms of as yung sa physical, siguro mahina talaga yung mga babae. Pero kahit ganon, dapat hindi natin tinetake advantage yun para sila ay abusuhin o saktan. So second, gender inequality and discrimination. Siguro sa panahon ngayon meron pa rin na ito nangyayari pa rin yung discrimination siguro sa iba. Lalo na sa ibang trabaho, pag sa trabaho, meron pa rin ilan. Low level of education. Dito sa naman sa third, parang hindi na to applicable kasi hindi naman siguro to na yung sa education. Tingin ko naman ay hindi ito applicable. Ang fourth ay limited economic opportunities. Tingin ko hindi na rin ito applicable sa panahon natin kasi madami ng opportunities na binibigay din sa mga babae. Hindi katulad nung una pa na halos lahat puro sa yung mas may advantage ang mga lalaki pagdating sa trabaho. Tapos, ang pang-fifth ay low level of awareness about human rights. So, siguro kahit naman siguro yung hindi natin alam yung tungkol sa human rights, siguro yung conscience natin o kaya yung pag may gagawin tayong mali at may naramdaman tayo na kakaiba o mali, isang sinyalis na yun na huwag nating gawin yun kasi kadalasan mali talaga yung conscience lang. Male control over decision making and assets. Male control over decision making and assets, parang hindi yata ito, parang hindi din applicable kasi pagdating sa assets, ewan, sa iba, nakamit. Lack of safe spaces for women and girls. Siguro. Yung sa male control over decision making and assets, siguro yung minsan, male control over yung decision making, siguro minsan, sabi ng iba kasi, mas rational ang lalaki. Tapos yung babae, emotional, kaya mas magandang mag-decide ang lalaki. Sabi ng iba, pero depende naman yun. So next, risk factors associated with women's victimization. Understanding the etiology of victimization is one of several main goals in the study of criminology. That being said, the general criminological victimization literature has developed at a relatively slow pace since the introduction of routine activity and lifestyle theories in the late 1970s. Siguro yung mapapansin nyo, yung routine activity and lifestyle theories, diniscuss yun dun sa video presentation na pinasa ni Dean sa ating LMS. Yung lalaki, yung lalaki doon, dinidiscuss niya yung parang tatlo lang yung theories na nandun. Parang hindi kasama yung lifestyle theories yata. Additionally, it was not until 1995 that scholars began to investigate the impact of routine activity theory on violence against women. Although research on these dimensions of victimization has generally lagged behind the rest of the field, scholars have made many noteworthy contributions in the last 15 years. During this time period, routine activity theory has arguably been the dominant paradigm for applying traditional criminological theories to issues of victimization. So, yung sa pag-research ko dito sa victimization of women, may nabasa akong tungkol sa isang theory at ito yung feminist theory. So, ano ba yung feminist theory? Feminist theory suggests that there is something fundamentally unique about the victimization experiences that predominantly affect women. Specifically, structural issues of male power and equality influence the perpetration of interpersonal crimes. So, ayun. Feminist theory encompasses a range of diverse ideas, all of which originate with the following beliefs. Society is patriarchal, structured by and favoring men. O paano ba pag sinabi natin patriarchal? Parang ibig sabihin men overpower women, parang ganun, mas nakakaangat ang lalaki pag sinabing patriarchal. Pero sa tingin ko naman, base sa tingin na ito, pero sa akin, sa tingin ko hindi naman siguro. Second, traditional ways of thinking support the subordination of women and the neglect of trivialization of issues particularly affecting women. And third, this patriarchal order should be overthrown and replaced with a system that stresses equality for both sexes. At tingin ko naman nangyayari naman, kumbaga meron ng gender sensitivity awareness na tayo sa panahon ngayon. Feminist theory impacts all institutions, medical, legal, academic, and social, for example, and can be used to illuminate all issues affecting humans. The diversity of thought within feminist theory lies in the fact that women across the world differ from each other in many ways, including race, ethnicity, nationality, class, sexual orientation, or educational background, for example, and that these differences result in varying views of feminism and gender equality as expressed in liberal feminists, Marxist, socialist, radical libertarian, and radical cultural, postmodern, and global feminist theories. Yet, for all the diversity within feminist theory, there remains the belief that despite women's many differences, women everywhere share some basic sameness. So, yung sa pag-research ko dito dun sa aking topic, yung nakita ko nga itong feminist theory, parang sa feminism, yung feminist, may dalawang argument o debate na nangyayari kasi parang yung unang argument ay ano ba yung role ng women sa society. Una, anong role? Pangalawa ay ang pangalawa ay yung cultural beliefs. So, dalawa yon. Ang una ay role of women to society at cultural beliefs. Dalawa yung argument na nangyayari. So, dun sa role of the women to the society, ang parang naging role lang dun ay magdadala lang siya ng anak. Kumbaga, ang role niya sa society is mga anak. Parang, kumbaga, mag-aasawa, tapos magbubuntis, tapos mag-aalaga ng anak, parang ganon. Tapos, dun sa, ang pangalawa, yung cultural beliefs. Ang cultural beliefs naman na, yun nga, katulad yung diniscuss kanina, ang babae daw ay weak, ang lalaki daw ay mas rational, Tapos ang babae daw ay emotional. Tapos, kumbaga, dapat ang babae nasa bahay lamang, yung mga traditional o yung mga sinaunang paniniwala tungkol sa babae. So, yun yung dalawang nakita kong arguments na issue sa feminism. Habang nag-research ako, yun yung nakita kong mga debates. So, okay, next. Violence against women and girls is a grave violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term multiple physical, sexual, and mental consequences for women and girls, including death. It negatively affects women's general well-being and prevents women from fully participating in society. Violence not only has negative consequences for women but also their families, the community, and the country at large. It has tremendous costs, from greater healthcare and legal expenses and losses in productivity, impacting national budgets and overall development. So yung sabi dito, ang violence against women daw is a grave violation of human rights. Sabi, kumbaga pag may ginawa tayo, lagi namang may side effects yan eh. Siguro hindi lang siguro sa physical, o hindi lang siya magkakamark o kung ano sa katawan. Kumbaga emotional din at mental. Kumbaga yung kumbaga trauma ang isang babae pag binilate yung kanyang human rights. Key facts. Violence against women, particularly intimate partner violence and sexual violence, is a major public health problem and violation of women's human rights. Siguro ang isa sa pinaka-common ay yung sexual violence. Ito ay siguro hindi lang ito sa mag-asawa, pati yung sa mag-partner. Global estimates published by World Health Organization indicate that about 1 in 3 of women worldwide have experienced either physical and or sexual intimate partner violence or non-partner sexual violence in their lifetime. Most of this violence is intimate partner violence. Worldwide, almost 1/3 of women who have been in a relationship report that they have been experienced some form of physical and sexual violence by their intimate partner in their lifetime. Globally, as many as 38% of murders of women are committed by a male intimate partner. Violence can negatively affect women's physical, mental, sexual, and reproductive health and may increase the risk of acquiring HIV in some settings. So, meron sa PNP naman, meron tayong women's and children's deaths. Yun sa PNP. Kumbaga doon, nagsusumbong yung mga nababiolate yung kanilang karapatan o kaya kumbaga nasasaktan sila o gusto na lang magreklamo. Meron tayong sa PNP na tinatawag na women's and children's deaths. Ito ang pangalawa. Men are more likely to perpetrate violence if they have low education. A history of child maltreatment, exposure to domestic violence against their mothers, harmful use of alcohol, unequal gender norms including attitudes accepting of violence, and a sense of entitlement over women. So ito, ayon sa pag-aaral, yung low education daw ay isa sa mga factors na nakaka-affect, kaya may ibang mga lalaki na minsan sinasaktan o binubugbog ang kanilang mga partner. Pwede rin namang ito sa psychology, yung child maltreatment, yung kasi may video ako dating napanood na may isang bata lagi siyang binubugbog ng kanyang ama, tapos nung nag-asawa at nagkaanak siya, ganun din yung ginagawa niya. Kumbaga gusto niya, ang kwento nun parang gusto niyang gusto niyang iparanas yung naranasan niya dati nung siya'y bata pa. Exposure of domestic violence against their mothers, harmful use of alcohol, yan, isa pa yan, yung intoxication, isa yan sa mga factors na nakakaano ka kasi kumbaga um, naano niya yung mental state natin, yung alcohol, naapektuhan. Women are more likely to experience intimate partners if they have low education. Sakto na yun. There is evidence that advocacy and empowerment, counseling intervention, as well as home visitation are promising in preventing or reducing intimate partner violence against women. So, yun nga, may mga counseling daw na counseling interventions na ginagawa para ma-prevent yung to violate, to ma-prevent yung violence against women. So, meron ding mga kinokondak ang PNP na ganong mga seminar, kumbaga, tungkol sa mga karapatan ng mga babae. The United Nations defines violence against women as any results in or katulad yung kanina. So, second, intimate partner violence refers to behavior by an intimate partner or ex-partner that causes physical, sexual, or psychological harm, including physical aggression, sexual coercion, psychological abuse, and controlling behaviors. Sexual violence is any sexual act, attempt to obtain a sexual act, or other act directed against a person's sexuality using coercion by any person regardless of their relationship to the victim in any setting. It includes rape, defined as the physical force or otherwise coerced penetration of the vulva or anus with a penis, other body parts, or object. So, pag sinabi natin coerce, parang sa pilitan, pinilit mo siyang gawin yung isang bagay na hindi naman niya gusto. Almost one-third of all women who have been in a relationship experience physical and or sexual violence by their intimate partner. The prevalence estimates of intimate partner violence ranges from 23.2% in high-income countries and 24.6% in the World Health Organization Western Pacific region to 37% in the World Health Organization Eastern Mediterranean region and 37.7% in the World Health Organization Southeast Asia region. Globally, as many as 38% of all murders of women are committed by intimate partners. In addition to intimate partner violence, globally 7% of women report having been sexually assaulted by someone other than a partner, although data for non-partner sexual violence are more limited. Intimate partner and sexual violence are mostly perpetrated by men against women. Risk factors. So, factors associated with intimate partner and sexual violence occur at individual, family, community, and wider society levels. Some are associated with being a perpetrator of violence. Some are associated with experiencing violence, and some are associated with both. Risk factors for both intimate partner and sexual violence include lower level of education, yung katulad nga sinabi kanina, yung sinabi, ayon sa pag-aaral, may nabasa din ako na pag daw mababa yung education ng isang tao, mas mataas yung risk niya na maging mas violente. A history of exposure to child maltreatment, witnessing family violence, harmful use of alcohol, yan, isa yan. Attitudes that condone violence, community norms that privilege or ascribe higher status to the men and lower status to the women. Ito yung siguro may pagka-traditional to. Low levels of women access to paid employment. Ito yung yung sa mga debate or argument na nakita ko dun sa woman's role. So, ang lalaki daw, dun binibigay yung mga employment na binabayaran, pero ang sabi daw yung mga babae hanggang gawaing bahay na lang. Isa yung sa mga argument dun sa woman's role in the society, tsaka yung isa ay yung cultural beliefs. Factors specifically associated with intimate partner violence include past history of violence, pwedeng may trauma siya o may experience na violence, marital discord and dissatisfaction, difficulties in communicating between partners, male controlling behavior towards their partner. Factors specifically associated with sexual violence perpetration include beliefs in family honor and sexual purity, ideologies of male sexual entitlement, weak legal sanctions for sexual violence, gender inequality and norms on the acceptability of violence against women are not root cause of violence against women. Siguro yung sa huli, gender inequality and norms on the acceptability of violence against women are not a root cause of violence against women. Siguro, hindi naman porket hindi mo alam yung human rights uh, uh, ng isang kahit hindi mo alam, dapat sabi nga, kahit hindi mo alam ang batas, kailangan pa rin sumunod. Madali lang naman kasi yun eh. Sa pakiramdam mo ay may mali, huwag mo nang ituloy kasi kadalasan mali talaga yun. Health consequences. Intimate partner and sexual violence cause serious short and long-term physical, mental, sexual, and reproductive health problems for women. They also affect their children and lead to high social and economical costs for women, their families, and societies, such as can have fatal outcomes like homicide or suicide. Siguro ang isa yung mga effects, halimbawa sa family o yung lalaki at babae, siguro nag-aaway. Ang isang na-epekto doon ay yung kanilang mga anak. Siguro, isang nakita ko ay parang may naggawa nung topic na yun tungkol sa thesis na yung effect nung yung broken family, yung tinatawag natin broken family, yung effect noon sa mga children, sa mga anak nila. So, isang parang effect noon ay isang nabasa kong thesis ay nagiging mas violent yung bata, at parang yung kung ano yung nakita niya, yun din yung gagawin niya paglaki niya. Pinakamataas na percentage, yun din yung gagawin niya paglaki niya. Kasi yun yung nakita niya nung bata siya. Leads to injuries, with 42% of women who experience intimate partner violence reporting an injury as a consequence of this violence. Lead to unintended pregnancies, induced abortions, gynecological problems, and sexually transmitted infections including HIV. The 2013 analysis found that women who had been physically or sexually abused were 1.5 times more likely to have sexually transmitted infection, and in some regions, HIV, compared to women who had not experienced partner violence. They are also twice as likely to have an abortion. Intimate partner violence in pregnancy also increases the likelihood of miscarriage, stillbirth, preterm delivery, and low weight babies. The same 2013 study showed that women who experienced intimate partner violence were 16% more likely to suffer a miscarriage and 41% more likely to have a preterm birth. These forms of violence can lead to depression, post-traumatic stress, and other anxiety disorder. O yung tinatawag nating PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorders. Sa psychology ay pinag-aaralan ito. Sleep difficulties, eating disorders, and suicide attempts. So, sabi ko nga, lahat ng gawin natin ay may magiging reaction yon, physical, mental, o emotional man sa isang tao pag may ginawa tayo. So, laging tatandaan ay think before you act. Ayun, gano'n. Health effects can also include headaches, back pain, abdominal pain, gastrointestinal disorders. Ito yung sa gastrointestinal disorders. Siguro sabi sa pag-aaral, pag daw ikaw ay stress, mas mataas ang chance mo magka-gastrointestinal disorders. Yun yung nabasa ko sa internet. Limited mobility and poor overall health. Sexual violence, particularly during childhood, can lead to increased smoking, drug and alcohol misuse, and risky sexual behaviors in later life. It also associated with perpetration of violence for males and being a victim of violence for females. Impact on children. Children who grow up in families where there is violence may suffer a range of behavioral and emotional disturbances and can also be associated with perpetrating or experiencing violence later in life. Yung katulad nga ng sinabi ko kanina, yung daw sa mga broken family o kaya yung nakita nila na yung mga bata na ganun yung pamilya, mataas yung chance na maging violent din sila paglaki o kaya gawin din nila yung na-experience nila pag sila ay tumanda na. Intimate partner violence has also been associated with higher rates of infant and child mortality and morbidity. Social and economic costs. The social and economic costs of intimate partner and sexual violence are enormous and have ripple effect throughout society. Women may suffer isolation, inability to work, loss of wages, lack of participation in regular activities, and limited ability to care for themselves and their children. So, prevention and response. There are a growing number of well-designed studies looking at the effectiveness of prevention and responses programs. More resources are needed to strengthen the prevention of and response to intimate partner and sexual violence, including primary prevention, stopping it from happening in the first place. There is some evidence from high-income countries that advocacy and counseling interventions to improve access to services for survivors of intimate partner violence are effective in reducing such violence. Home visitation programs involving health worker outreach by trained nurses also show promise in reducing intimate partner violence. However, these have yet to be assessed for use in resource-poor settings. So yung sa atin naman, sa aking settings, tungkol naman sa aking trabaho, sa PNP naman, parang PCR yung may kinokondak yung mga PCR o yung police community relations natin na personnel na nagko-conduct sila ng seminar sa mga mag-partner tungkol nga dito dun sa women's right, yung children's and women's right. Minsan babae ang pumupunta dito sa mga seminar nito, pero mas maganda lagi ay mag-partner, magkasama silang mag-ano. In low resource settings, prevention strategies that have been shown to be promising include those that empower women economically and socially through a combination of microfinance and skills training related to gender equality that promotes communication and relationship skills with couples and communities, that reduce access to and harmful use of alcohol, transform harmful gender and social norms through community mobilization and group-based participatory education with women and men to generate critical reflections about unequal gender and power relationships. So, doon naman sa gender awareness, tingin ko naman yung mga, kasi dati parang paniniwala, na ang babae dapat magbubuntis lang, mag-aalaga ng bata, at gawin bahay lang ang gagawin. Pero ngayon, nakita naman natin na kahit sa PNP, makita niyo mga babae din. Siguro wala nang, kumbaga, hindi na applicable yung dating na yung cultural beliefs na ang babae dapat nasa bahay lang. So, ngayon, ang dami na, hindi na, meron tayong gender equality na tinatawag pagdating sa labor. To achieve lasting change, it is important to enact enforce legislation and develop and implement policies that promote gender equality by ending discrimination against women in marriage, divorce, and custody laws, ending discrimination in inheritance laws and ownership of assets, improving women's access to paid employment, developing and resourcing national plans and policies to address violence against women. Ayun, yung meron na ito yung ending discrimination against women, meron mga movement o kaya mga seminars na ginagawa ang iba't ibang groups or mga institutions tungkol sa discrimination against women. Tapos merong itong second, ending discrimination in inheritance laws and ownership of assets. So, tingin ko naman parang bibihira naman ito. Improving women's access to paid employment. Hindi na dito nangyayari ngayon. Developing and resourcing national plans and policies to address violence against women. While preventing and responding to violence against women requires a multi-sectoral approach, the health sector has an important role to play. The health sector can advocate to make violence against women unacceptable and for such violence to be addressed as a public health problem. Provide comprehensive services, sensitize and train healthcare providers in responding to the needs of survivors holistically and empathetically. So yung kasi mga ganito, pag yung isang babae nagka-trauma, kahit sino naman siguro mahirap yun. Kumbaga mas kailangan nila ng care, mas sabi nga nila, mas kumbaga yung pangangalaga, mas kailangan nila kasi kahit sino para maging kasi mahirap, ang pinakamahirap, madali kasi sa physical kasi nag-ano agad pero yung trauma na to na yung sa emotional tsaka yung mental, yun yung matagal na gamutin at mawala. Prevents recurrence of violence through early identification of women and children who are experiencing violence and providing appropriate referral and support. Promote egalitarian gender norms as part of life skills and comprehensive sexuality education. Curricula taught to young people. Generate evidence on what works and on the magnitudes of the problem by carrying out population-based surveys or including violence against women in population-based demographic and health surveys as well as in surveillance and health information systems. World Health Organization response. At the World Health Assembly in May 2016, member states endorsed a global plan of action on strengthening the role of the health systems in addressing interpersonal violence, in particular against women and girls and against children. Global plan of action to strengthen the role of the health system within a national multi-sectoral response to address interpersonal violence, in particular against women, girls, and children. World Health Organization in collaboration with partners is building the evidence based on the size and nature of violence against women in different settings and supporting countries' efforts to document and measure the violence and its consequences, including improving the methods of measuring violence against women in the context of monitoring for the Sustainable Development Goals. This is central to understanding the magnitude and nature of the problem and to initiating actions in countries and globally. Strengthening research and capacity to assess interventions to address partner violence. Undertaking interventions research to test and identify effective health sector interventions to address violence against women. Developing guidelines and implementation tools for strengthening the health sector response to intimate partner and sexual violence and synthesizing evidence on what works to prevent such violence. Yung yung sa mga yung nangyayaring physical violence sa mga mag-partner, lalo sa mga babae, ang isang kinokonduct ngayon o yung parang ano ngayon, ano man tawag natin yun, nagte-trend na kumbaga isang bagay na ginagawa is yung nag-aaral yung mga babae ng self-defense. Napakaganda nun, isa yun sa mga siguro kumbaga kung babae kayo, yun yung isang skill na dapat nyong i-obtain. siguro pang protection na din. Kasi pag ganon, madami kang magiging. Yung una sa confidence. Tapos hindi, pag kung may mangyari at huwag naman sana, kaya mong ipagtanggol ang sarili mo. Although sabi nga in terms na yung sa aspect yung kung kung sino mas malakas, siguro may lamang na konti lalaki, pero pag yung babae alam niya yung ginagawa niya at may skills or background siya sa self-defense o kahit anong martial arts, siguro isang advantage na sa babae. Supporting countries and partners to implement the Global Plan of Action on Violence by collaborating with international agencies and organizations to reduce and eliminate violence globally through initiatives such as Sexual Violence Research Initiative, Together for Girls, the Violence Against Women Working Group of the International Federation of Obstetrician Gynecologists, and the UN Joint Program on Essential Service Package for Women Subject to Violence. Ayun. Tapos, siguro yung ano ko lang dito, siguro yung victimization of woman, pag naman, wag sana natin sa mga, lalo sa mga may partner, o sa lalaki na lang, wag natin i-take advantage ang mga babae kasi, kumbaga sa physical aspect, kumbaga, kung alam mong mali naman ang ginagawa mo, wag mo nang gawin kasi may consequences yan. Sabi nga, pag may ginawa kang mali, face the consequence. So, siguro ang isa yung sa mga ginagawa ngayon yung sa yung tungkol sa victimization of woman ay isang maganda ay yung sa inaano natin yung ang mga kababaihan sa self-defense siguro, isa pa yun. At nagko-conduct tayo ng mga seminar, hindi lang sa mga babae, kundi sa lahat na tungkol sa karapatan ng mga babae o yung sa human rights ng mga kababaihan natin. So, sabi dito yung sa merong siguro traditional na yun na paniniwala, kaya na traditional na yung cultural groups na ang babae daw mahina tapos panggawaing bahay lang. Pero ngayon nakita naman natin na lahat naman kumbaga kaya na ng mga babae at hindi na pinaniniwalaan yun, hindi na applicable yun, yung cultural belief na yun. Kumbaga minsan nga mas nakakaangat pa nga mga babae sa mga lalaki minsan. So, ang isa naman yung mas rational daw ang lalaki at emotional daw ang babae, kaya mas ginugusto ng mga ibang kumpanya sa mga trabaho na piliin ang lalaki. Kasi pag nahaluan ng emosyon ng trabaho, hindi talaga ayos yung trabaho. Pero sa tingin ko naman, nasa tao yun. Wala yun sa gender. So, yun lang po ang aking presentation. Sana naintindihan nyo at good luck sa ating lahat. Thank you.